Now, approximately 50,000 people are expected to be at the Greyville Racecourse for the annual Durban July, one of South Africa's premier horse racing events. With a healthy prize money for the winner and no COVID-19 restrictions, this year's event is gearing up to be one to remember and to talk about. And we have joining us now here over Zoom, we've got the CEO of Ford Racing, Fundi Sithebe. Good morning, Fundi. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Good morning, Vusi. It's always such an amazing pleasure to be on SABC News. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Fundi. Let's start and talk about the actual racing before we get to everything else that happens around the Durban July. I mean, this is really one of the marquee events on the horse racing calendar. And for the people that are involved, whether it's the horse owners, the trainers, or the groomsmen, this is really a good opportunity for them to elevate their status should they do well.
So, Vusi, you hit the nail on the head. This is Africa's premier horse racing event. And I think everybody looks forward to it. Not only will get to the fashion and the glamour and the fun element, but from a horse racing perspective, this is really one that you want under the belt. This is an accolade that you want. Throughout the day, we've got about 9 races, with obviously race 7 being the main race, the July race, and that is stakes for 5 million rands for the winning horse. So that's quite significant, one of the richest stakes that you can get. But over and above that, I always say that yes, as much as it is about that main race, there's so many other races. I've even got a horse running, which is exciting. Our lady Syndicate horse running in race 5. So it really is a pinnacle event for everybody, trainers, jockeys, owners from everywhere to be here. Last year, they obviously had capped the amount of people that went through to the Hollywood Bets Durban July to 20,000. And I suspect this year that the numbers would easily go over 40,000. And that's quite significant in terms of calendar, in terms of tourism in this province.
That's very interesting. Tell me again, Fundi, you mentioned the name of your horse?
Mrs. Geriatrics, and please don't be fooled by the name because she can move.
Mrs. Geriatrics, is this the horse that you own with Jessica Mutawong?
No, it is not. The interesting story, this is the horse that 10 ladies own. So it's a lady syndicate. And I think that we've always said that part of the beautiful story about horse racing is you don't have to own a horse by yourself. So there's 10 of us, different ages, different backgrounds, that own this beautiful filly. She's a 2-year-old little girl. And she's won 4 out of 4, and this is going to be her 5th one. She is the favorite for the race. So we're looking forward to it.
I wonder if that's the horse that Leanne thought would win, because I heard her last week saying last year she called it that Sparkling or something was going to win, and Sparkling Water. Leanne says she said Sparkling Water was going to win last year, and Sparkling Water did win. But Fundi, let's talk about this cash injection and the prize money, because I mean it's very significant. From a custodian point of view, how have you seen the improvement in terms of just that distribution of those funds between all the different role players that are involved, including the groomsmen?
So maybe let me start from an industry perspective, and then we'll go on to the external landscape. So from an industry perspective, remember, you've got the breeders. So literally the breeders have sold their horses and expecting some of these horses with their owners and the trainers and the jockeys to do extremely well. And what happens typically with horses, it's very, very interesting in that my horse, for example, be Mrs. Geriatrics, whichever potential sisters and brothers in that family get costlier if she does well. So the bloodlines are quite important, because the bloodlines are what also ensure that the competitiveness within a certain breed, let's call it that. So if they do well, the brothers and sisters start to price well, and the breeders can get better money for that. That's one. Obviously, the jockeys all want to, this is something that they want. You're right, Sparkling Water won last year. Smanga Khumalo was the jockey. This was his 2nd July. And I can tell you now, he's riding a horse called Rain in Holland. And it's definitely going to be competitive and wanting to win potentially a 3rd time around. So you've got the best of the jockeys. Obviously, from the 5 million rand stakes winner, from whichever stakes that are won from whichever race, the jockeys get a portion of that. Equally, the grooms get a couple of percentages of that winning money as well. So it really, really says everybody must put their best game forward to ensure that, one, we put a safe sport together, but two, we, may the best man win. But equally important is the size of the pools. Remember, we spoke about betting and the money that goes into what's called the tote. So tomorrow, punters could very well have a pot of about 20 million rands that they could play and potentially win towards. So that is quite significant. That is money that comes back into horse racing when we put money into the tote. So we're looking forward to that. Over and above that, and remember I said in the last interview, the money that comes from the tote is what we use to enrich the lives of the grooms, the medical benefits, the retirement benefits over and above them winning. Obviously, from a Durban tourism perspective, the Hollywood Bets Durban July brings in just so many external people with fashion, with, from a tourism perspective, from a spend perspective, I think that they probably derive around 150 million rands from this beautiful event. So really everybody gets to win, including just the average person coming on course. It really is going to be a beautiful day of racing and fashion.
And you talk about the racing and the fashion and just the fact that this is an event that allows different people from different industries as well to just see and gain in on the benefits. I mean, you've got the marquees, you've got the artists that are performing, and let's talk about the fashion now. Talk us through, I know last week when Morning Live was covering the broadcast from Durban with Leanne, we spoke a little bit about the fashion, but from your point of view, talk us through the fashion and what we're going to be looking forward to from Fundi. We know you always come through with the fashion.
Thank you. So the theme this year for the Hollywood Bets Durban July is out of the universe. So I struggled, I must be very honest. I was like, oh my gosh. So my best thing is you just better knock it out the ballpark and just literally look like you're not from this universe. So that's what I'm going with. I always find it interesting. You have all sorts of fascinators, all sorts of hats and all sorts of dresses, colors. This does not at all stand to disappoint. Interestingly, Vusiwe, I was out at Royal Ascot last week. So this is the famous, kind of 5-day racing out in the UK. And even then, it's just so amazing that there's just this common theme amongst premium race events and the fashion, and people just really, really turn up. So it was the same in London last week. We're looking forward to it tomorrow. And you know me, I'm always practical. I'll have a beautiful gown, but with my sneakers because I'm still on the job. I think on the marquee side, there are multi-level marquees, beautiful, different entertainment, and really that becomes the show even after the main race. So people have lots to look forward to outside of racing. I equally say to everybody that's coming on course, great to be there for the fashion, great to be there for the music and the entertainment and the artists, because that's what it's about, right? That's the culture. But you must place a bet. Let's put on a 50 rand bet. Let's enjoy a horse race. Let's support our jockeys. Let's support this industry, our owners, our grooms, because at the end of the day, without this sport, we wouldn't have the fabulousness, the magic that comes with the Durban July.
Indeed. Fundi, thank you so much for your time this morning. And as the custodians of racing in South Africa, congratulations for the work that you continue to do. Enjoy the Durban July tomorrow.
Thank you so much. It was great being here. Thank you. Bye.
That is Fundi Sithebe. She is the CEO of Ford Racing, talking all things Durban July does take place tomorrow. That's how we wrap up your sports news for the week. But just a reminder, Banyana are in action against Botswana. This is a final encounter on home soil before they jet off for that World Cup out in Australia and New Zealand. It will be kicking off at 3 p.m. at Tsakani Stadium. Free entry. Please do come through and support the ladies. From myself, Vusiwe, until next week, have a blessed weekend.